Good. I'm
Okay.
on.
I'm digging the glasses, first of all. I
Thank
like
you.
the shades. Okay.
Drink. You digging the cafe yet too?
Sure. Styling.
Uh, cool, cool, cool. All right. Yeah. So we've been trying to contact each other for a while now, and I guess I should just go ahead and introduce myself. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, the
Um.
floor is yours, sir.
Okay. So my name is Codename Rouge. I used to be one of the leaders of Irish Palestinian Solidarity Campaign in Enniskillen. Uh, I'm not anymore, and yeah, I've been a lefty political activist for most of my adult life, and yeah, and I got into the Discord space, talking to Loner Bugs, Destiny, and etc. about Palestine and calling out other leftists that's for the American Empire, and yeah, that's my shtick. And
Well,
yeah,
I
check my
do
site out
sim
as
for
well.
the American Empire, to be clear, right?
Uh,
So just so we're clear. But go ahead.
yeah. I got you. Like, but yeah, and yeah, check my website out as well. And I do make these cool jackets, as you can see here. This is umbrella from and Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, his jacket, and yeah, it's gonna come up soon. The website, if you check out my YouTube page, codename Rouge, so
Sure.
gonna come up soon.
Make sure that you put the website link into the Twitch chat and things like that, and so everyone can find it. Or give it to me, and I'll put it in the YouTube description later. And if you'd like, you guys can go
Yeah,
and
sure.
check out his website. Cool. What did you come
Yeah.
to talk about specifically today?
All right. Yeah, several things. So, number one, I sent you the what was it, like the Tommy Robinson stuff. That he's that his connection with the JDL and how Israel is funding both leftist organization and right wing organizations, to discredit Muslims and instead of to basically to discredit Muslims and making so to discredit the Palestinians by discrediting Muslims in the West and to make a clash of civilization between us versus them in the West. So which is pretty nefarious stuff.
How do you feel the same about Russians giving money to Tenant to stir up dissent in America? Uh, Tim Pool, Lauren Southern, those people. Do you feel the same thing that that's also nefarious?
Well, yeah, that is nefarious, but I mean, there's nowhere near that kind of uh, what do you call it, infiltration into our system, whether it's our media, whether it's everything else. There's nowhere near that kind of stuff in the Western world, like
You don't think so? You
like what
don't think that
Israel
the
does.
Russian influence within certain segments of Western media isn't uh, extremely high these days?
Uh, no, I don't think so. I mean, it could be high, but I'm just saying nowhere near as Israel. I mean, like, for example, I was reading some what was it again? I don't know, some journalist the other day. I forgot his name, but anyway, but I was talking about like the Unit 8200. It's a Israeli intelligence agency, no, branch of the Israeli intelligence, and one of them actually is the creator of PagerU, and a lot of them are being inducted into Silicon Valley. So a lot of the Israeli intelligence are working in Silicon Valley of this unit 8200. uh so that's pretty weird. And like the New York Times, the lady that wrote like about the systematic rape, the false systematic rape of October 7, she was also a former Air Force intelligence. So that is and these people are not going to jail, so
Do you
they
think
can
that
operate freely.
what should they go to jail for specifically in your mind?
Because they're intelligence agencies from a foreign country coming to America, you know, and doing the intelligence, basically doing Israeli propaganda in American soil.
What's the difference between
So,
Israeli propaganda and someone who just really does believe that there was rape on October 7th. And I count myself amongst them. The evidence I've seen,
Yeah.
right? The reports that
Uh-huh.
I've read, yeah, there was rape on October 7th. It happened.
Well, I'm not disputing there was no any what do you call it? Uh,
Rape, we call it rape.
yeah, I got you. But I just know the point is like, was it systematic rape? Was it like, was it given like, from the top down that,
Sure. I
that,
get what you're saying.
rape any woman is, yeah, rape any woman that you see, that kind of stuff. And a lot of this, and even the lady that was, they put in the, the New York Times article, her parents came out and said that didn't happen. She wasn't raped. We didn't say that. And a lot of the stuff as well, even when the UN said, that the thing that puts me off is like when the UN says, "Hey, can we go investigate it?" They're like, no. Like, why don't you believe all women?" It's like, and so they became so defensive
The
when people
UN
say, "Can we
did make
investigate?"
an investigation on this. They released a report on
No,
this. They
but when
said we
they
were
first, I know,
they
but when they
confirmed
first,
what
yeah,
was said, right? They confirmed
no, they
that there
didn't confirm
was incidents of sexual
there
assault and
was.
rape. Yes.
Yeah, no, but they didn't say that it was like systematic. They didn't like, like basically what the Israelis portrayed was a systematic and a very brutal. Like, they were saying like, I don't want to go into it, but like, it was very graphic. But
Sure.
and yeah, but when the UN, like when they first made they made those allegations that the UN says, okay, can we go investigate? It's like, how dare you, like, ask us this? What about believe all women? What is this stuff, like, so that's where that put me, like, that's where I got, uh, started argumenting against that. But moving on from that, I don't want to get in, like, bogged down to, like, some old story. um yeah, you did check out the Tommy Robinson stuff,
It's
right?
been a while though, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. So hold on, I'm trying to make your screen bigger. There we go. Okay,
Mm.
cool. So yeah, so yeah, like, to Tommy Robinson, like what happened with the English riots was that, an immigrant, from African descent, Christian African descent, went and, like, killed some kids, which was pretty awful. And
Yes.
yeah, and English people are like, yeah, they have the right to get angry about that, but it quickly switched into anti-Islamic rhetoric by people just posting nonsense on the channel and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
there was a lot of
on Twitter and everything like
anti-Semitism when it came to when it comes to what was happening in Britain. There was a lot, a lot of racism, a lot of anti-Semitism, but there is also some real concerns. We had a panel on this with people from England, right? We had people who
hmm
were from Britain, who came in and talked about their thoughts, their worries. Lonerbox was actually on that show, and yeah, there's more to it than just racism and anti-Semitism, but yeah, there is racism and anti-Semitism as a play there in play there. Yeah.
yeah, but the problem is, like, it's not but there's people like lighting the fire for it though. That's the problem, that the Israelis are lighting the fire, like, I mean, are lighting the match for
Do
that,
you think it's the
are lighting a match.
Israelis that were egging that
I mean,
on?
okay, okay, not just the Israelis. I mean, look, ever since 9/11, I think ever since the Cold War ended, actually, I think ever since the Cold War ended, the American empire, the West in general, has been looking for a new enemy. Until like recently, the Russia rose up again. They've been looking for a new enemy after the Soviet Union collapsed, and that was Muslims. You know, became that enemy, like, for them to propagate their empire, like,
There's a
to
lot of
justify their empire.
anti-Muslim sentiment in America, and I don't think there should be. Look, to be clear, I'm not anti-Muslim, but am I don't like Islamic nationalism. I am against that. Does that make me anti-Muslim?
No, I mean, but like, no, it doesn't make you like, or what do you call it, anti-Muslim, but but you're still like driven into that quandary that, yeah, of course, there's nationalism in our in our own, in our own country. So it's okay for people to have nationalism in their own country. It's wrong for people, like, when nationalism in itself is not bad at itself, like, but I'm just saying, but when you push, like, onto the fascism way, that is pretty bad. So the yeah, that's what I just wanted to say. But yeah, like, but my point is though that there's people who've been pushing that ever since 9/11, for to justify their wars in the Middle East, to justify, like, their military expenditures, to justify all the Patriot Acts, justify all this, and like, because after the Soviet Union fell, they needed a new enemy, and even a lot of CIA people, like what's his name?
Hold
What's the
on,
guy?
hold
You know,
on,
this.
hold on, hold on, hold on. I hate to interrupt you, but someone sent me a message, and I just need to confirm this is true or not because
Mhm.
I, are you associated with the Taliban?
No, I'm not associated with the Taliban.
Did you hang out with the Taliban or interact with them in any way?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did go to Afghanistan. I did talk. What do you call it? They rule the country. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I might not be prepared as much for this conversation as I need to be. But let's talk a little bit about what you wanted to talk to bit. Uh, Here. What is your purpose for coming on the show and talking to me right now? What are you trying to achieve?
All right. Well, like I mean, look, we just I mean, we didn't have time to prepare for it, and we just talked to each other like 4 hours ago. But
Sure.
all right. So, what I want to talk about? Okay. So I want to, talk about Palestine. I want to debate the clash of civilization that a lot of people are like in the military-industrial complex and uh, Zionist wants to push us towards. And I want to also call out some people on the left that are I guess still for Israel. So,
What when you say for Israel, what do you mean?
uh-huh.
Like what? So for example,
Like,
I'll give you my stance, and you can tell me if I
mm-hmm,
count in that for Israel thing. So for me, I don't think that Israel are the good guys here. I think that what
mm-hmm,
they're doing some horrific shit over there. I condemn it, disavow it, all these things. However, I don't think
mm-hmm,
Israel deserves to be destroyed. I don't think
mm-hmm.
Israel is the only bad actor, and I think that Hamas is worse than Israel in every metric. So does that make me part of the what people a Zionist or whatever?
Mm, excuse me. No, that doesn't make you a Zionist.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is like, for example, like Destiny that would go to Israel and also, just make up stuff like about, like them, like basically does whatever he can to make excuses for Israel.
What has Destiny made
Uh,
up?
Basically, okay. So when you were talking to him, like I don't know, well, there's that some history guy. He was talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, was it justified for them, like shooting a girl for cutting open a border, like on the March of Return?" He's like, "Absolutely, that was justifiable, absolutely." And like this is a guy actually who's talking about, less borders in America and everything like that. But for Israel, basically, he's like super nationalistic. So basically, in America, he's a liberal, everything like that. But he's okay supporting like ultra Zionist or like nationalism attitudes in Israel, which is pretty crazy. So like at home, he's like is anti-Trump, anti-right, but exactly. But for ethno religious state Israel, basically, he has all the excuses in the world. All the basically, he just glazed them up and basically excusing them for like shooting a girl like 14-year-old in the head for like for breaking into a fucking border. Like I mean, I guess that's a crime, but that's not something like you should be like shot over the head about anyways, if you broke into a border.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with
So
that specific situation to really comment on it,
well,
honestly.
yeah, like he said that, and he said our culture is better than theirs. Like basically, this is like some Western supremacist shit, and and not only like that wasn't just bad enough, but like that idiot Laura Box, just like sits there, an Arab guy, and just like let him, yeah, like yeah, your culture is better than ours, yes, for sure, for sure. Like I mean, he doesn't say anything at all, yeah, like basically just admitting, like yeah, like I'm inferior than you are,
Well, I
So
think
that's why I like
that
got
I'm not a cultural relativist, to be clear. I do think that
uh-huh.
some cultures are better than others. There just are. Like, for
Well,
example, I think my
mhm,
culture,
mhm.
right, American culture,
Yeah,
is better
yeah.
than the Taliban's culture. I'll give you that. I think we're
Well,
better.
that's your opinion.
I mean,
That's
no,
your
it's
opinion, but like,
sure, but it's also objectively true.
no, it's not objectively
Why not?
true. I mean, like, there's certain things. Well, there's certain things that American culture is better at. Like, there's certain things that Afghani culture is better at. Like, not that
What
doesn't
is
mean
Taliban culture better at than American culture?
well, like a Taliban culture to begin with is not American culture, but well, listen, I'm not like what do you? I'm not an expert in the both of their cultures, but exactly though.
Sure.
Okay,
So how do you
but all right.
know if you're not an expert in either culture, then how do you
Okay.
know that one isn't just objectively better than the other?
Well, okay. For example, all right. They're how do you say how they treat like divorce and men maybe like is much better than America's. I mean, like you
In
could
what
put
way? How
that.
how is divorce treated better in the Taliban culture than the American culture? To be clear, I'm asking this generally. I have an idea, right? A general idea of
Mm-hmm,
how divorce is handled in the
mm-hmm,
Taliban, but I don't know for
mm-hmm.
sure. So educate me a little bit, please.
Okay, all right, maybe okay. Like let's leave divorce. Like that's maybe like, I'll go into complicated stuff. Okay, maybe they treat like being a man in in Afghanistan is much better culture, or like they're growing up is much
So
better. So we don't have like
how we
for
treat
example,
men.
for
Just to be clear,
yeah for
how
yeah
Taliban treats men is better than how American culture treats men, in your
I
opinion.
mean, like the masculinity stuff is much better than it is in USA because we don't have kids like mostly white kids going up shooting their classes and stuff like that in Afghanistan. Just because for being bullied and etc. like that. So that's one thing. They don't believe in the 99 genders. That's another thing. They don't believe in cutting their penises off to make it into vaginas or adding cutting a piece of their leg and making it a penis. So that's another thing. Well, I mean, like, so basically, yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. So basically, my point of all this is like, just like, so do you agree on that or no?
No, I don't agree on that, to be clear, but
You don't
go on.
you
Um,
don't think you don't agree? At least they get it right in the genders and when in the gender on the gender area.
I think that when we talk about culture, for example, I think that the culture
Uh-huh.
that the Taliban has of,
Hmm.
and it's not just the Taliban. So a lot of the cultures over in the Middle East have this problem, and it
Hmm.
is a problem, in my
Hmm.
opinion, of this
Hmm.
martyrdom problem. I don't think
Uh-huh.
that that's healthy, and I don't think that that's helpful, especially not to men. Right? Even in
Hmm.
America, we're not perfect in America here either. Right? To be clear, I
Yeah.
think American men have this toxic masculinity. Not to use too many buzzwords here, right? But
Hmm.
the a problem of men have to sacrifice themselves for others. Like they are
Hmm.
meant to be the workforce. They are meant to be the ones who go and be bullet sponges, basically. Um, that, as I understand it, over in Taliban culture is dialed to 11, right? It's dialed up
Hmm.
extremely high. And I think that that is worse than what we have here. Not that ours is perfect, right? And again, I
No,
don't want to
but
get into the whole
uh,
gender stuff, right? I have
uh,
problems with gender I am gender ideology or whatever. I do have some
uh-huh.
issues with it, but I think that having the freedom to explore those things and having the
Hmm.
freedom for people to have for men to have the individual choice to make their own choices when it comes to these things is superior to a culture that forbids individual choice like that. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
I got you, but my point is that like the world is big, the world is diverse, and it creates different cultures, like depending on how like scientifically advanced you are, how it's like that thing called the Gun, Germs, and Steel, like that book, and how basically how on many variables it depends on many variables how your culture advances, how your culture changes, and in separate different ways, and that's beautiful. If you grew up in an island in Indonesia, like your culture becomes different. If you grew up in the jungles, your culture becomes different. If you grew up in the desert, like your civilization
Sure.
becomes different, and that is the beauty of this world. And when somebody comes in and says, "Hey, look, my like, the problem is like the people that says my culture is superior than yours,
Mm.
and they come to destroy that culture, and basically they erase the certain culture that and I think where the world is left barren because of that. When a culture like that is destroyed. For
Certainly.
example, the Native American culture, yeah,
No, I
like
get what
basically
you're
when it's
saying in abstract, right? And I agree to a certain extent that I think that I want to draw a distinction between cultural aesthetics, right? such as dress, garb, etc., traditions like that, and cultural
Hmm.
values and behaviors. So, for
And
example,
even like those, yeah,
no, there
even
are
those,
some
yeah, even
cultural
those.
values and behaviors that should be eradicated, that deserve to die,
Hmm.
to be clear. Like,
But
I think that the female
who's
genital,
going to be
I'll
the
give you a
judge?
good one. I'll give you a
Uh-huh.
real easy one.
Hmm.
Female genital
Hmm.
mutilation. That, as a
Hmm.
cultural value and norm and practice,
Hmm.
needs to be eradicated. It needs to not exist anymore.
Okay, but who's to be the? But yeah, but like you have to teach people for like the problem is like when we go into those things like who's like who's the arbiter, who's the judge, jury, and executioner of like of what is the which culture is supposed to live, what culture needs to be get done away with,
Well,
and etc.
in this case,
It's the
the
American
people,
superpower,
yeah, we are, and I think we do
huh?
a pretty good job. Yes, I think that yes,
Oh my God!
someone
All
needs to
right.
be the arbiter, right? Someone
Okay.
needs to be the
Uh-huh.
one
Uh-huh.
who makes these
Mhm.
decisions. And for me, I
Mhm.
advocate for the cultural norms that I think are better, and I
Mhm.
try to limit or even eradicate the cultural norms that I think are worse, because I think that's how we should. Like, I'm not
No,
talking
man.
about
Let's.
Taco Tuesdays or something, right? Or someone
But that's what's
wearing.
going to happen. Basically, but that's the problem, though. America's culture is basically these corporations now. So basically, if America has its way, which basically already have, basically we're all going to become 7 fucking 11s, man. That's basically what's going to be from Tennessee all the way to Kandahar,
American
seven
culture is
fucking
pretty
11, and we're
diverse,
all
man.
going to get fat, and we're all going to get fat. And then what else is going to happen? Okay, we're all going to have like gender ambiguous people running around, and basically that, like, and then eating Chick-fil-A, watching Chick-fil-A TV, and being numbed out of our
Chick-fil-A.
fucking brains. Basically, a bunch of slobs. But that's what's going to happen if America takes over. So, like, no, no, thank you, sir. And, you're definitely not superior. If America has its way, it's going to be like one big corporation, man. Like you call it McDonald's,
But even within
Macworld.
America, we don't have a single look. I reject this painting and framing of American culture as
Oh, well,
corporate culture. I don't think that's true. I think that
that
within
is true.
what
Okay.
America has done well, and look, we have our problems
Hmm.
here. I'll agree. There are certain parts of American culture I'd like to eliminate. To be clear, um, but when it comes to an overall ideal, I think that America is good as adopting and incorporating other cultures into our own. We have a multicultural system in America, and I think it works rather well. There are problems with it, there are some issues with it, but I think multiculturalism, where we adopt the best of the other cultures that we bring into us and we reject the parts that, are pretty abhorrent, I think is a good system overall. It has its flaws, it's not perfect. We are not the best ever in
Hmm.
every single aspect. But that's the beauty of multiculturalism, is if we are lacking, if our cultural norm is worse than
Hmm.
another culture's norm, we adopt that norm and we reject the worst culture. And I think that that is probably the best way forward, in my opinion.
Uh, Maybe I don't know, but I think like I say, I'm not a judgmental guy. I think basically the world is big, and I think we need multipolarity and multi-diversity. Like you say, diversity is good, or you say multiculturalism
So
is good. So we need
multipolarity, who should be
multiculturalism.
the other poles, right? America being the unipolar world, we had America hegemony. Other than America,
Hmm.
who would be the multipolar? Who would be the other poles in
There's
your
different
ideal world?
civilizations out there. There's China. There's Muslims. There's Russia. I mean, look. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the judge arbiter for that. But there's plenty of civilization. There's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of wisdom out there. So are you telling me basically all the wisdom in the world is in America? And
No.
like basically no, not it's not. That's not even true because we get our most of our tech people from India and China as well.
But
that's not even true.
when they come to America, and they become American.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
true, but I'm pretty sure if they can stay over there too, they can get like shit done, and like we can take they can have like their own civilization as well. We can listen to as well, and like they can become polars over there as well. So I mean, so let's not forget about that. So basically, you don't have the all wisdom. So basically, this is what I'm trying to talk about. Like there's this arrogance in America or in the West, I just say, but like but which is slowly dissipating. That you know everything. You are the arbiter of everything. You are the just. So and you're the all powerful one. And if somebody else leads, basically the whole world is going to crumble and dissipate, which is not true.
I think the
So,
the world is better under American polarity and hegemony than it would be under any other
mhm.
countries.
I mean, you don't know, but like I mean, like but I'm not trying to say like, but
No, I'm
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 not
pretty
also
sure.
trying to pay. Okay,
Fair enough.
you don't know. I mean, you don't know like any like the varieties of the multiverse, but like you're quoting Marvel.
I
But anyways, but yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, but what I to say though, okay, but I'm not trying to paint that Americans or Westerners are evil and everything like that, or they never did anything good and
Okay.
etc. Or like or that Easterners are all good and and like fluffy bunnies and etc. No, like I mean, like we're all capable of evil, we're all capable of good. But what I'm trying to say though, the problem right now, as I see right now in the world, that that the West and especially America doesn't want to listen to anybody else because it's the top dog, doesn't want to listen to any wisdom, everything like that. And I think we all have a part to play in this world as human beings, and not have a clash of civilization. And like for example, I want to put it like have you watched Lord of the Rings, right?
I've seen The Lord of the Rings, yes.
Okay, yeah. So basically, who was the hero of that book? The Hobbit, yeah.
I
What's his name?
suppose. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, he's not the strongest. Like there's the elves or the most graceful, or like the most I mean magical, like the like what's his name, Gandalf and etc. like that. No, but they needed him because all of them could get corrupted by the ring. So even like the lesser one has
True.
like so basically that's what I'm saying in human society as well. Like I mean,
Wait,
yeah, like I
in
mean
your
maybe like
analogy, which country are the hobbits? I'm just curious.
well, I'm just making stuff up, but I'm just saying there's poor countries out there. Like, we denigrate, as as your former president used to call them, shithole countries, all because they're poor and they don't have, like all our, mighty technology and everything like that, but like we can learn maybe some spirituality from those countries. We can learn some, I don't know, like other things, but, you know
Okay,
what I'm trying to
I'm
say.
just trying to. I'm still stuck on the analogy with Lord of the Rings. Again, like, what are you trying to say here?
What I'm just trying to say that, not everything America, but like basically being the strongest guy, the most technological advanced, and etc. Like that, we miss certain things that other countries can teach us, like certain wisdoms from
That's why we
like
have
basically the
NATO and other alliances throughout the world. America works with its allies like
NATO. They're all Westerners.
Australia,
That's what we talking about, man. Talk.
Europe,
Uh-huh.
works with the Philippines, works with Japan, works
Hmm.
with all these other countries,
But
and
that's military alliance. So I'm talking about like learning from people. Though. That's military alliance where people like that's imperialism. I'm not talking about imperialism. I'm
well,
talking about
we
like learning from like the weaker and the not as powerful countries. They can teach you some wisdom. We can learn some things. Like for example, like and what was it? Where was the president of where Jose Mujica? I think he was from Paraguay or something like that. The poorest president in the world, etc. Like we can learn about him. Like that kind of stuff is good. Like kind of politics is good. So we can learn about that kind of
okay.
stuff as well. So
Yes, if there is
yeah,
someone, if there is a country or a group or a culture that is doing something that is superior to my culture, I will adopt that and I will incorporate it into my
you but
culture.
like you
Yes.
would like I mean maybe
Mhm.
because you're wise, but I'm pretty sure like the American as a whole, the American
Because I'm
culture
white.
or the American government wouldn't because they're too arrogant. They would like look down upon anything else
Well, no, we do
that
this
doesn't
all
come
the
from America,
time. We adopt
huh?
other cultural practices all the time in America.
But like their food, that's probably when they come in. Like that's probably it.
I mean, people
The
yell at each
food
other because
probably.
they call it a cultural appropriation or whatever, which I think is silly.
Yeah,
But no, they do it all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, I
People
don't know.
adopt we in America adopt the
Hmm.
cultures and practices of other countries. And I think we're better off for it. Yes.
Okay. So what is your thoughts on what recently happened with Mr. Hirsch Goldberg,
Mr. Hirsch
The
Goldberg.
American Israeli? They got one of the six Israelis that got
Oh,
executed in
yes. I
Gaza
think that's a
tunnels.
horrific situation. I think that the fact that Hamas executed them days before they were supposed to get a deal or something, right? I think that just
No,
shows
they weren't
Hamas
get. No, it
more.
was not both squads. No, like there was a deal that was supposed to be done that Netanyahu and like they were rejected. So basically, the but if
Well,
the deal did
Hamas.
happen though,
No, look,
the three of them.
Netanyahu has been playing. He's been playing fast and loose with this. I think that he has obstructed some peace deals to an extent, But Hamas shot those hostages in the back of the head. I think that the condemnation for me is stronger on the people who shot the hostages in the back of the head. Shouldn't have done that.
Got you.
That was bad.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was evil.
Yeah, but like okay,
Yes.
but
Hold on. Can we
okay,
agree
so
that shooting shot hostages in the back of the head is evil?
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
All right. So yeah, but what I'm trying to say though, like but you can't when you have hostages and stuff like that, and when you're like like what happened last time, like 200 people got killed to get hostages taken over, and basically you have a SWAT team like raiding your whatever your hideout is. What are you supposed to do? Like I mean, you're supposed to like get into a gunfight and everything like that. So
You
basically,
shouldn't be
you're putting the hostages
having
in danger.
hostages there. You shouldn't put hostages in places where innocents can get hurt. Not if you care about the not if you care about the innocents, and not if you care. Well, if you cared about the hostages, you wouldn't have taken them. But yeah, if you care about the people
Hmm.
that got hurt there, maybe you shouldn't have put the hostages in the middle of those people.
No, it's a pretty dense area, but yeah, I can't
Yeah.
say anything. But but do you think America should do anything because he's an American, especially because that's what
Should
threw me off a
America
little bit
do
because
anything? I don't
yeah,
know. To be clear, I don't know if America should take it. Are you asking if I think America should get involved in punishing Hamas?
I mean they already are by sending all
Yeah,
the
I
weapons
mean,
to
yeah,
Israel,
we're.
but
I think we're doing what we should. I wouldn't
yeah,
advocate for further intervention here. I don't think we need to go in guns blazing.
yeah, but like that's what throws me off though. Basically, right now, once he died, like the Israelis went a little bit crazy. Not just Israelis, but just pro-Zionists, pro-Israelis in general. They were like, "Oh my God, like Hamas killed an American. America, what are you gonna do? How can you let this happen?" Da, da, da. When I think last I remember, like not that long ago, a couple of months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, like this war has been going on for maybe 10 months. So the Israelis killed three British veterans, one Australian, and one American Canadian. Yeah, and even before that, they killed as well, like Shireen Abu Akleh, a Palestinian American, a 17-year-old American Palestinian. Uh, what's her name? Rachel Corrie. They ran over a bulldozer, and none of these people have been like nobody has been charged with a crime or been arrested. And like it seems to me like the hypocrisy of Zionists and the pro-Israeli crowd of always asking like, oh my God, how can you let this happen? How can this be happen? When all of them they just getting away with like all sorts of like murder and like and
Well,
war crimes
as I
like
already said,
all
I don't think Israel's free of blood on their hands. I don't think they're the good guys in the region. They do some horrific shit
Mhm,
at times, but again, I think if we have to, because better or worse, we are involved in the region, right? For better and worse, America is involved in the region. I am
mhm,
against pulling out of the region because I think that we get a lot of benefits from that region.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and I think that when we can influence things, I think for the better, I think we should. And I think that this is one of those times where I I don't know the solution, but I know that pulling out is not the solution. $5, let
mhm.
me get a little money here. $5 from Fat Surprise to say Frodo had a job to do and did it. He provided value. If you're the weakest and also providing nothing, then you're just weak. Also, USA is the best. Thank you for the $5. No,
Okay.
thank you for bringing up the Lord of the Rings analogy again. I don't. I think that was silly. But
Yeah.
like to your point of Israel sometimes kills people they shouldn't. Yes, and that's bad. I condemn it. They shouldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
You
Hamas
know,
Hamas
yeah.
does it on purpose all the time. And again, these hostages that were just killed were killed
Mhm.
days before they were scheduled to be part of the next release, right? And things like that.
No, no, no. Like I told you, there was no release. They were about to be released. They were talking about like the special forces about to come in, and then they found them. Like when special forces went to like they said like I
Yeah,
think they
why
had information because
yes,
yeah,
they were about to
but
be
they had
rescued,
information.
released, whatever, right? And so they shot him
Yeah.
instead. I like, what are you doing
Yeah.
at
So what?
that point?
I mean, okay, like picture yourself as a combatant, right? As a combatant. Yeah. And
Okay.
basically, there's another army coming in there. Like they're going to basically you're guarding a prison, for example, right? And there's another army, and then you hear they're going to rescue the prisoners, And what are you supposed to do? I guess maybe you can just leave without shooting the
Yes,
prisoners.
yes, you can.
Yeah,
You can get
yeah,
away without shooting
yeah,
innocents. Yes, you could do that. That's entirely acceptable. That's
yeah.
entirely something that's within the realm of possibility. In fact, it's pretty spiteful. It's pretty hateful if, again, you know that you can't move these guys, so instead of just leaving them there, you shoot them instead.
Yeah, well, it is this very spiteful war. It's been going on for like 76 years, and just the venom of even the Israelis as well. Like, I mean, you can hear that. I mean, the venom of the Palestinians as well. Like, it has to be tampered down, and it's been tampered down, and like everybody's been condemning them. But the venom of Israelis, the problem with with the Israeli side is just like you're not supposed to be defending them. Like the the problem of the region starts because nobody is holding Israel accountable. Nobody's telling them, "Hey, listen, man, you're acting like a fucking psychopath. Stop it."
When you say, oh,
You
holding
know,
Israel accountable, what do you mean? How would you like them to be held accountable?
don't give them weapons.
Well,
Don't give them weapons.
I think
Sanction them. That's how apartheid South Africa ended. One of the main reasons it ended. Sanction them. Don't give them weapons. Make them a pariah.
mm,
Stop fighting the wars for them.
I don't think we fight
That's what it is.
I don't think we fight their wars. When it comes to giving them
Yes, you do.
weapons, well, wait, how do we fight their wars?
Okay. For example, all right, without the American Empire, yeah, Israel wouldn't have survived. Okay,
Or
without
are
the
we talking
American
about
Empire.
60 in the 60s? That's probably true in the 60s. I'll give you that.
Mhm.
But we're talking today. If
But even
here's
today,
here's the
okay,
thing.
even today.
Today, if we stop sending
Uh-huh.
all the weapons, if suddenly tomorrow
Hmm.
President Biden signed an agreement where no weapon would ever go to Israel again, no bullet made in America would ever go to Israel again, Israel's still going to be able to prosecute their war. They only get 16% of their military supplies from us, about 16%. They will instead turn to other countries, right? Because there are other
Hmm.
countries who would absolutely offer them their support and deal. China
Well,
would be one of them.
yeah.
China would be waiting, saying, hey, I know the Americans cut you off, but hey, baby, if you work with us, we're going to give you and supply you all the weapons we can. So it becomes a question of who do I want influencing the Israeli government? Do I want it to be the
Hmm.
U.S.? Do I want it to be China? Or do I want it to be Russia? And I think that of those options, of the realistic options we have, America is the best choice, not just for Israel, but for Palestinians
Hmm.
as well.
No, it wouldn't. Because, for example, China would not send its navy, off the shore of Lebanon to threaten the Lebanese and Hezbollah, not to start shit. Because, hey, look, if you start shit with Israel, I'm here. All right. If you start or Yemen as well, like bomb Yemen. If you start shit with Israel, look at me. I'm the big brother. I'm gonna be here. China's not going to do that. Like China doesn't care of Israel that much. I mean, like it does. It's not in love with Israel. I mean, like it has
Sure,
business
because they
relationship
don't
with
have
Israel.
as many ties to Israel as America does. However, if that changes, and they do,
Hmm.
again, because if America cuts them off and stops doing business with them, stops sending weapons, etc., China will start and they will get that relationship. And then
No, they would
they
never
might
get that
not park at an
relationship because
aircraft carrier because I don't think they have one
they have one
outside
actually.
of Lebanon, but they absolutely would do other things to fuck with countries that fucked with Israel. It would be
No,
different.
they wouldn't. No, they
You don't
wouldn't.
think they would?
Because
Look at
no,
what
they
they're
wouldn't.
look at what they're doing to the
Because
countries
like let me
around
tell you,
them.
because to anybody, to any sane person, anybody, even America backing Israel after a crazy person in the Middle East, yeah, basically the doing what Israel is doing right now is insanity, right? It's ethnic cleansing, and like the way they talk about, have you seen the video of the two good Jewish boys, like they were talking about, oh, if I could get rid of the Palestinians tomorrow, I could just press a button, I would do it. Or like they say, oh,
Yeah,
like
it's
my
pretty
life is so
horrific.
much
It's not good.
better. Yeah, yeah, my life is so much better. Like we're walking in the park if I knowing that Palestinians are suffering. And it's just not just me that thinks about that.
That's
I'm here to
hateful
tell
and
you that.
that's wrong, and I condemn it.
Yeah, so that kind of it's not good for business. It's not good for politics. That kind of especially if it's nuclear armed, like that kind of ethno-nationalistic messiah complex end of days kind of nonsense. That is not good for anybody. And America supporting that. is because they have such a like what they call symbiotic relationship. Basically, they're basically like conjoined twins. They're like so many of our even ambassadors are they have a Israeli passport too. So there's no way that's going to happen with China. Like like I'm pretty sure like tomorrow, however good relationship they're going to have, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a dual Israeli Chinese ambassador like to Lebanon, or like their Secretary of State is not going to be like a former Israeli
Sure,
citizen or
but
everything
the
like
the
that. So
question the question is, what would be better not only for Israel but for Palestine and the region as a whole? With
not
America having
America, that's for sure.
influence, or China? And
No,
you and I disagree on this, because I think that China
like because what
or
look
or Russia
what America's do.
would be just
Yeah, or Russia too,
fundamentally
right?
worse.
Russia is better. Like any of those two countries because they don't have like they're not conjoined at the basically they're not conjoined at the hip with Israel, and like basically they have like such a love affair with Israel that none of those countries would sit by Israel and do all this crazy shit and let it pass, let it veto
Of
all
course they
the
would.
resolutions.
Of
No, they
course they would.
wouldn't.
If they were allies
No,
with
they will.
them, yes, they
What
would.
for? What for? What for? What for? I mean, like, what benefit Israel brings to Russia that they would do that? What
Well, one
benefit
of the
Israel would
benefits
bring
that
to
we get
China? They
from
would do that
Israel, right?
compared to the oil that Saudi Arabia gives, compared to the oil that Iran gives, compared to all the regions that is more Islamic than one tiny Jewish nation. There's
Sure, I'll
no
just give
there
you
like
one example. I'll give you one example
okay.
that Israel provides the
Hmm.
West, right? Especially
Hmm.
specifically America. That if
Hmm.
Russia or China were able to get that supply instead, it would benefit them greatly and cause them to either look the other way when Israel does some crazy shit, or even help them, right, and assist them in
Hmm.
that. Um, uh, One of the things that are in most modern electronics, like cell phones and shit, is a
Hmm.
is a chip, okay? And it's only manufactured in a couple places. One of those places is Taiwan. That's one of the reasons we
Hmm.
defend Taiwan from China, is because they manufacture these chips, and it's a huge portion of our supply. And if China were to take over Taiwan and stop the shipping of those chips, it would devastate us economically and militarily. It's a huge issue. The other place that provides those chips is Israel.
Hmm.
We get our chips, not as much as from Taiwan, but a good portion of them from Israel.
I'm pretty sure that
That's
could
a
be
huge
circumvented, man.
that's a huge deal. We also get a lot of tech from Israel, honestly.
Yeah, but like there's still no reason like to all the bloodshed and all the.
I'm just
I'm
saying,
pretty
when
sure
you have
nobody.
Putin
Yeah,
or
like
you
I'm
have
pretty sure
Xi
that like every
Jinping and
country,
they're
yeah,
making
like
these
it has.
decisions, they
Hmm.
don't give a fuck about morality. They don't give a
Hmm.
fuck about morality. This is all
It's not even about
power.
morality though. Yeah, but even about power though, even about power in the region, like supporting that messianic, the people with the messianic, visions of like of greater Israel, or this is our land, and they're buying I don't know $500,000 worth of heifers from red heifers from Texas. So like the Al-Aqsa Mosque will get destroyed and the temple will rise. That kind of stuff, man. Like I mean, like it is crazy. Like, it is messianic. It is end of time stuff. And like anybody, so like I'm pretty sure even Russia or China will look at that and it's like, hey, listen, man, you're going too much crazy. I can support you.
I
You're
don't
up the
think they
fucking
would.
chains.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I'm pretty sure
silly.
they would, man. Like
I'm looking at what Russia's doing in Ukraine right now, and I look at what China does to the people around it. No,
uh,
they would. Why would they stop it? There'd be no
nowhere near
reason for
Israel.
them to
That's
stop it.
No, because the whole region is against Israel. The whole region is against
Israel
Israel,
has
and like
built several ties with Saudi Arabia. They've begun
mhm,
normalizing
with the
relationships with
governments,
a lot.
and not just because of not because of Israel, actually, because of the pressure of America, because they value the relationship with America. That's why they became friends with Israel, not because because America vouches for them, not because they themselves like Israel a lot,
Well,
because
I
America
don't think
vouches
it's
for
it's
them.
about liking them. It's about realizing that stability in the region is better for everyone, right? Including Saudi Arabia and including the other countries that
And there would
surround
be
them.
no
Yeah,
stability
it
without the
wasn't
Palestinians. I
it
mean,
wasn't
like,
it
and
Lebanon? It might have been. No, it wasn't
mhm.
Lebanon. Oh man, there was a country when Iran shot all those missiles at
Oh, Jordan,
Israel. Jordan, thank you.
Jordan, yeah.
Jordan opened up its
Jordan.
airspace and let Israeli and American fighters shoot down those missiles, right? They assisted
Yes,
Israel
yes.
in this. Again, the normalizing of relations has been happening for a while. And yeah, I think that the reason that a lot of the Arab countries around them, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them are normalizing relationships with Israel is to oppose Iran as well. They're worried about Iranian influence and Iranian power, who's a huge player in the region, and so that they are
Mhm.
again trying to build a coalition that can challenge Iranian power in the region. And Israel's key to that. That's one of the reasons Iran
That
hates
sounds good.
Israel
That
and
sounds
Israel
good.
hates
That
Iran.
sounds good. That sounds good on paper, my guy. That sounds good on paper. But no Jewish guy is going to die fight side by side with an Arab Muslim and then die for him like fighting the
They do
Iranians.
that
No,
in Israel. There
and
are a
no.
lot of Arab Muslims in Israel that fight in
Yeah,
the
maybe the
yes.
brain. No, maybe like a minuscule. Like and like these are basically cannon fathers and collaborators, and I don't think they're like they're not supposed to be. They're like the loner boxes of Israel anyway. They're not supposed to be mentioned.
The loner
They belittle
boxes.
themselves.
The loner
Yeah,
boxes of Israel. Okay.
so yeah, collaborators. What do you want to say about collaborators? Yeah, of course there was black slavers too. I mean, like, what do you want me to say about
I
that?
don't
Like, I
think these
mean,
are the same. But we got about 10 minutes before I get to go to my next segment. Do you have anything else you'd
okay.
like to share, right? Or to talk about in these last remaining minutes that you have?
Okay, number one, yeah, I'm just gonna talk stuff about Destiny. Destiny, I don't think his fans are supposed to follow him as well because last time he said that, not last time, but when he was talking to Abba, he said if he was not a successful YouTube streamer, he would become a prostitute and he wouldn't mind selling his ass to make money. So I don't think we should follow that guy because as a political commentator because he's probably gonna sell out. I'm telling you, man. Once China takes over America monetarily, Destiny is going to make surgery in his eyes to look more like Asian-like. It's like he's going to like more squinty. Like remember when we defeated the Japanese whores were like we're doing surgery in their eyes to make bigger to be attractive to the Chinese men.
I don't remember that. No.
That happened when yeah for the American GIs, Japanese prostitute did surgery in their eyes to look more pretty. So I think he's going to do that to be more pretty to the Chinese
Okay.
to the coming Chinese power.
Well,
Yeah.
if that's what you want to be your last words, that's what you want to be your last words, buddy. I will talk to you another day. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.